Hello,
Hello.
hello. We are back now. So now this session is an English session from Thomas. Thomas is the Hong Kong UST Developer Student Club lead. So he is going to have a topic. Let me see topic name. A very long topic name. Building blockchain app with Solidity and Flutter. I also haven't heard about the Solidity, but I have about the blockchain and Flutter. So maybe Thomas can introduce more about this technology in the following topic. So Thomas, ready? And I put your screen on. Yeah. So I pass the time to you, and thank you, Thomas. Everyone, if you have questions, you could add in the YouTube comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emma. Yeah, so I'm really happy that GDG Hong Kong just invited me to be one of the guest speaker in DevFest 2020. So I think first of all, I will introduce myself. My name is Thomas. I'm the Developer Student Club lead at HKUST in this year. And for my major, I'm in computer science. And I'm also taking minor program in entrepreneurship and big data technology. So so I have a lot of interest in IT field, for example, like the blockchain and the mobile development, and also some big data usage. And I think first of all, maybe everyone would be think different student club you may not haven't listened before. So maybe it would be a good chance for me to introduce what is different student clubs. So actually, different student clubs is a new program led by the Google developers, and our goal is to try to create impact and to let the students to have impact and empower them to serve the communities through the technology. And also, we hope that we can help them to bridge the gap between the theory and practical applications for student developers. And the last but not least, it's also important for them to build some real solutions for the local businesses and their community. And talking about like the whole program scale, now in this year we have over 1,000 DSC in different campus in the world. And for Hong Kong and Taiwan region, we have 30 DSC in this region. And talking about like Hong Kong, we have 7 this year. So for example, like we HKUST, HKU, CUHK, Poly, City, BU, and Ivy. And like talking about last year event, we have some technical workshop, for example, like the Flutter Interact Viewing Party. And also we have some community events like the DSC Summit, which is in 101 Taiwan office. And also we have maybe have some meet up with GDG Hong Kong. And also talking about the largest event for every year in DSC is the Solution Challenge 2020, which is a global contest to invite students to develop solutions for the local challenges and help to solve some problem which the community are facing. So, and they will use one or more than one technologies to solve that particular problem. And also we have just try to hold different events which is related to solution challenge, for example, like design thinking. And also we also rerun the Flutter workshop for them to do some real applications. And talking about like the results of the solution challenge, we are really happy that for in this year I joined with the last year DSC lead in this competition, and we just got the global top 10 in this year. And after that, we have solution demo day, which is virtual in the Google developers YouTube channel. And it's really great that there's a lot of Googlers to communicate with us, and also we have answer different questions from the viewers. And talking about this year event, we will usually have the summer bootcamp in which is already happened in the August, and some TensorFlow basics, hackathon, solution challenge in this year again, and also maybe Google Cloud platform here. Yeah. So maybe after I quickly to introduce or what is DSC, and then we can go back to today's topic. I think for today's topic, it will be quite interesting because maybe not much people just have understanding on the blockchain technology, and actually just including me, I'm started to learn the blockchain technology like in starting from this year because I have an interest in like investing cryptocurrency, and then I'm just want to know what the behind the technology works in this new tech and new structure. So actually, we can talk about what is blockchain. So for blockchain, you can just say it is a chain with lots of blocks. So you can see in this picture, you can imagine that there is a long chain here, and for the long chain, there we have a bundles of records, and those records we can call as a block. And here you can see that for each record, you can store any information. Maybe you want, maybe you heard of Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is a application of using a blockchain. And talking about when you want to send a transaction to your friend, and those transaction data will be stored in the record here. Or and then we're trying to go in deep on the whole process of the blockchain works. So first of all, for example, like Amy, she wants to send some Bitcoin to B, maybe Bob, and then after that, when they just trying to execute this transaction, and the transaction will be represented online as a block, and for in this block, they will have a broadcast to every party in the network which participated in doing the confirmation, which is you may heard of a lot of people doing the Bitcoin mining, and they are what they did is they're trying to confirm each block in the blockchain network. And after that, this process, for those in the network, for those blockchain in the network, they will have approve the transaction which is valid. And after that, the block will just add it to the chain, which provides a transparent record of transactions. So talking about like the characteristics of blockchain, we can say that it is impossibly irreversible of the whole blockchain record because of its hash function here. And the last step is, of course, Bob just received the money from Amy, and then the whole transaction is completed. Or in other perspective, we can understand blockchain is a digital information which is stored in a public database, and apart from like the data they store in the block, they also store the hash and the hash of the previous block. So in this architecture, it can just let the whole blockchain is valid and it is in integrity, will not be changed by someone. And talking about like the components of the blockchain, how it works, we can talk about the first one is the private key cryptography. So you can imagine there is a key which is only yourself, and then you try to encode by using that key, and then also to go into decode it. Yeah. And the second component is talking about the distributed network with a shared ledger. So distributed ledger is a type of database that is shared, replicated, and synchronized among the members of decentralized network. Okay, so the whole distributed ledger records the transactions, for example, like the exchange of access of data among the participants in the whole network. So the participants in the network will try to govern and agree by the consensus on the updates of the record in the ledger. So there is no central authority or a third party metadata, or for example, like usually the bank will hold the whole set of transaction, they will keep it. But for in blockchain, it's totally different. So everyone will have their own ledger, and then they will keep it for themselves. So it can say that the whole database structure is in decentralized. And another components we're talking about is the secure process of the confirmation. So when we're trying to like sending or receiving Bitcoin, and then we need to do some confirmations. But why? Because for like the maybe I give an example again. So maybe you still send some coins to a friend, and the coins will not be added to all unconfirmed transformation goal, and then instead the blockchain the block will not convert immediately. They will just redirect it to the blockchain pool, and then they will place there is a place that where all the unconfirmed transformation go, and the miner will just dive into this place to take the transaction and place it into the blockchain. And for the miners dive into this blockchain, once in the block, the miners will process it, and then they will just produce a proof of work because they just using the computational power of their computer to help to confirm this transaction. So why everyone they are trying to do the they use the computer to do the Bitcoin mining is that they help them to do some complex mathematical operations, and after that they will get some Bitcoin for rewarding. And of course, like for the rewarding, they will just decrease in a certain level. So for example, like for example, in the first batch, they will usually each block they will usually have reward of 50 BTC at first, and after that they will just cut it into the half and a half and a half. So you can say that the blockchain supply is limited. Okay, so talking about like the whole blocks, which I think I have just mentioned in the previous slide, but more clearly. So for a block, it will made up of some digital piece of information. There are three parts. The first part is they were trying to store the information about the transaction, for example, like day, time, amount of money, etc. And also they were trying to store the information is participating in the transaction, like the digital signature. And also they will store some information that distinguish between other blocks, hashing, and each block they will also have a unique hash. So because for the hashing, it is not able to reverse the process to become your site the raw data, and therefore once you doing the hash, it is irreversible. And when you try and one maybe if there is a hacker want to trying to add the hash in the block, which the whole block will be invalid, and this can confirms the integrity here. So maybe because for the time limit, I will skip this slides here. And for talking about like the usage of the blockchain, first of all, is commonly used in the cryptocurrency because they are use this process to ensure because this new concept to ensure everyone can have a rights to being like a bank to control all the transactions here. Another way used in some industries is, for example, like healthcare. So, for example, like maybe recently there is some countries are investigated using the blockchain technology to utilize the smart contract to verify like whether his results of COVID-19 testing is positive or negative or not, whether these two results. So after they just confirm this testing results on the blockchain, they can just also ensure in integrity of data. So for example, like many maybe you can see that like in some third countries, they may usually have a lot of fake testing data there, and then if they so therefore the reason of happening this is they are not using some maybe they are have do not have a good health medical care system, and the second reason is they are really easy to make fake certifications. So maybe blockchain is a way to verify the whole process. Okay, so today's topic is also related to Flutter. So at last, I will trying to build a very simple blockchain app with utilizing with Flutter. So, but maybe for lots of blockchain application that are built in the web, but why we are trying to build in Flutter? Because for Flutter, there's a lot of advantages. So Flutter is a Google's UI toolkit for building some beautiful apps on mobile, and then they were trying to render the image, render the results in the pixel by pixel. So for the perspective of the designers, they can just do a lot of very wow animations and graphics that they wanted to, without any compromise. And talking about like, yes, we also mentioned it is beautiful. There's no compromise for designers. And also talking about like Flutter. Someone may think that a Flutter, because Flutter is a multi-platform, can deploy in multi-platform. So for example, like they can deploy in iOS, Android, even web now, or even maybe in desktop app. But however, they didn't compromise on speed, because they are trying to make it similar to speed as the native apps. And so there's a lot of people trying to use it instead of the native one, because they're trying to, as this point mentioned, they're trying to make a simple app within a short period of time. And therefore, in terms of the maybe startups, they can just try to launch their app in very quickly and in both iOS and Android platform, and they can also reduce the workload. And talking about like Flutter is open source, and there's talking about like the GitHub commit is global top 10, I think, and many people, and the community size is really big, so more and more people are trying to use Flutter. So maybe skip this here because the time. And we can also see that there are lots of more companies that are trying to use Flutter for their applications. And talking about the most important concept of Flutter is the widgets. So talking about the widgets, everything in Flutter is a widget. Even like layout modules are also widgets. For example, or maybe also images, icons, and text that you can see are also widgets. So maybe for the layout of the whole app that you send. For example, if you want to put every items of your app components into a row position, and that row which is the row function is also as a widget here. And finally, you can see that when we're trying to put the widgets into a widget into a big widget, and then they will call a sub widget, and then they will form widget trees here. Okay, so talking about like building a simple blockchain app. For in this our maybe call session sharing session. Recently I built a very simple app, which is using. I used the Remix IDE to deploy the smart contract on the blockchain network on the testnet. And for the blockchain network, this time I used the Ethereum testnet, and also I utilized the Flutter package, the HTTP package, and the Web3 dots. And for the Web3 dots, they can just trying to communicate the Ethereum network to the Ethereum network in the public here. So another tool we frequently use to connect with blockchain is the Infura. So Infura is a API that you can just get the access in the Ethereum or IPFS networks here. So maybe I can share. Yeah. So actually, it is register for free here, and then you can try to sign up, log in, and after that, you will see they will just provide you a link, and then you can just grab the data for your development usage, and this is really simple to use it. Okay, so talking about like when we're trying to build this simple blockchain app, the most important is we need to import the two libraries, the Web3 dots and the HTTP. And after you put these two package and indicate in the pub/spec YAML, and after that we need to do initialization of using this package. So first of all, we need to have an init state here, and then we're trying to use the URL that provided by Infura. This link is used to connect with the main Ethereum network here, and we utilize this Web3 client functions here. And also talking about like when you're trying to load your contract, we need to use a thing called ABI. So ABI is a interface that you need to connect with the Solidity. And let me just trying to open, yeah. So for this is Remix IDE. So we can see there's a Solidity program. There's a very simple smart contract structure here. So there's a constructor and a variable, and this variable will be say that the balance is 0 in the initialization here, and after that they will just get the balance. There's a function get the balance here, and also you can do a deposit and withdrawal here. So actually this is not a real Ethereum transaction. I mean, it's not just transaction some real Ethereum here. It's just simply just changing the variable numbers here, but for simplicity we do this in this time. But usually for many applications, for example, you want to do some P2P transaction app, you will the writing style is not like this, and you need to specify other styles, other syntax here. Okay. Okay, when we're talking about lowering the contract here, when you're trying to want to get the ABI, so you can go back to the Remix IDE here, and then you can trying to retrieve. You can just trying to retrieve the ABI here, and after you trying to retrieve it, and you can just this is in a JSON file, and then you can just put it in your assets. And also you need to provide your contract address, because for Flutter Web3 they are not able to deploy the contract at that time. So you need to maybe make use of the Remix IDE to deploy smart contract on the Ethereum network first, and after that you need to retrieve the smart contract address, and then you just get back into in the string here. And after that, we are trying to deploy a contract here, and then you need to include your contract address here. Okay. And talking about, we also have an important function called query. For this query, the main usage is to according to the ABI that you provided, they were trying to search the function that you want to execute. So for example, if you want to execute get balance or deposit balance, you would trying to put the name here, and then they would just trying to do a query, and then they will execute it. And talking about like the get balance, it will be also simple. So we also use the query function here, and then for this one is to get because for this one is the parameters here. So for example, like the get balance, we don't need to have a parameter here, so we can just leave it empty here. Okay, and so after that you will retrieve the data here, and they will store it in this integer. Okay, and talking about like we also have another function called submit. So for submit is usually to execute this transaction here. Also first, this one is called the credential. So for each wallet, they will have a key, a private key here. So for example, I open this MetaMask. So this is the MetaMask is a blockchain wallet for you, which is supposed the ERC20 coin here, and then you can just trying to do some transaction here. So there is some. So for example, like this, I'm running. This is a test network, and then I have some Ethereum here. And for if you want to check your private key, you can just go into account details and export your private key. But of course, I will not just trying to expose here. Okay. Okay. After that, we are trying to use the previous function that we mentioned before. For example, like the load contract, we need to know where's the contract. We need to deploy it here, and after that, we're trying to get the function and do the real transaction. So this is the this code of line is the real what transaction made here. So we need the credentials of the private of your wallet, and after that you need to call the contract. You need to input what is your contract and your function, what function you want to call, and what is the parameters. Yeah, and after you finish, and then they will have a result. So for this result here, I can have give you a look. So so talking about like yeah okay, maybe I talk this later. Okay, um yeah, and also talk when we go back to the demo here in this app, we're trying to have three functions. One is refresh, which is need to get the update value in the blockchain network. Another one is deposit, which is to add some money here and withdraw to just try to minus the integer in the smart contract here. Okay. So when we get back to the code here, we are trying. There's a function called sendCoin, and we are trying to use the submit function. So we are trying to call the deposit balance, and also we have get back to we have variable bank amounts, and we have, because this is the parameter we need to use. And after that, when we finish this function, we will print a deposit to indicate the transaction is really finished here. So similarly, withdraw coin, it is a similar process here, and just and the difference is just minus the variable numbers in the smart contract. Okay. So when we just look back in, I just open this emulator, and then you can see that actually it's already um, connected to the blockchain network, and you can just try to refresh it, and then after you press the refresh, you have updated file here. So maybe now I'm trying to add 60, and then I'm trying to do a deposit action, and after that you can see, okay, it is already have a deposit transaction here, and you can see I'm just and this is the ID you can just trying to track. So this is quite interesting because you can just go back to the blockchain explorer to check whether this is a real transaction. So I'm use the testnet. Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm trying to put this ID here. Yes, this transaction include block number will be reflected in a short while, and then it is doing the transaction now. And then we can go back to the app, and then you can see after this transaction they confirms, they will have changed this file, and we can trying to refresh it. So you can see here they just trying to get the update data in the blockchain network, the Ethereum network, and then you can see the value is increased. So for example, this time we're trying to deduct 1,000, and then we're trying to do a withdrawal, and then you can also see that they just execute a withdrawal action here, and then we can also trying to copy this transaction here. Okay, this is the previous transaction they just success here, and you can also see how it going on. So the time is 1 minute ago from this address to this contract address, and also you can see the transaction fee. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now it's confirmed now. So you can also see that we also have execution from our wallet address and then to this smart contract address. So when you click to this smart contract address, there is an interesting function that you can see here. So this is all my transaction that I did before, and then there's you can go to see the contract here. So in this contract, is in the bytecode. So in this Everscan website, they can try to decompile this and then into become to a more readable way here. So we can go back to in this decompilation here, and then you can see what it is really exactly the same I did before, the get balance function and also the withdrawal and also the deposit functions here, and which is the whole complete smart contract structure here. Okay. Yeah. So I think times is up now. Sorry that because for blockchain concept is quite difficult, but I cannot try. I cannot just tell all the things in a really short period of time. But in this workshop, I just give you like a basic understanding on how the blockchain can apply to our development tools, especially on Google Tech Flutter. And this also implies that we can just try to build some awesome blockchain apps in the future in a very short period of time. So yeah, that's all today what I'm trying to share. So if you're also interested, you can also follow my LinkedIn, and then you can see. And in the following future, I will do more updating on the tech sharing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. So any question? Maybe you need some time to organize your question because maybe most of us also not expert in the blockchain. So maybe we have some fundamental question. Maybe you can also ask Thomas. Actually, I have a question. So the Solidity is for the blockchain smart contract, right? And the Ethereum, maybe I missed it. Can you introduce again what is the Ethereum is doing?
Okay, so Ethereum is another cryptocurrency different from Bitcoin. So for Ethereum, it is programmable because it involves the first. It is the first cryptocurrency that involves the concepts of smart contract, and then you can do some programming and do some applications based on this cryptocurrency network here. Yeah.
So many terms.
Yeah. If I can just talk longer in this session, I will definitely to go in deep further the whole concepts of the blockchain. Yeah, because it's also involves lots of new tools, new concepts, and cryptography.
Okay, thank you. So if you want to know more about go deep in those terms, you could ask Thomas, or you could in our DevFest event website in the speaker pack. There is the bibliography of the Thomas. There is some his contact information. You could ask him, or you could ask in the GDG Telegram channel. I think he will also see your question. So if no more questions, then now it will be our lunch break, and we will come back at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Yes.